1.3 Landforms created by natural environmental processes. Lesson Introduction. Natural environmental processes are constantly changing and shaping the Earth's surface. Processes such as rivers, glaciers, groundwater, ocean waves, and wind are vital agents that create and modify landforms. This lesson explains how these agents work through their respective actions. Landforms created by rivers.
Rivers, glaciers, groundwater, ocean currents, and wind are all critical shapers of the Earth. They sculpt the landscape through three main actions: erosion, transportation, and deposition. Actions of rivers. In highland areas, the role of rivers is extremely important.
Upper course, highlands. Because the water flows fast and steep, the river primarily cuts downward. This erosion creates V-shaped valleys. Depending on the hardness of the underlying rock, waterfalls and rapids may also form. Middle course. As the river reaches flatter land, it begins to erode the banks sideways, lateral erosion, making the valley floor wider and creating U-shaped valleys. Lower course. In the final stage, the river slows down significantly. It can no longer carry sediment, so it begins to deposit it, forming wide floodplains. Diagram labels, bottom of image. The illustrations show the evolution of a river valley. Left diagram, V-shaped valley, created by rapid downward erosion, vertical erosion. Middle diagram, wide U-shaped valley, as the river starts to meander and widen. Right diagram, floodplain, where the river deposits sediment in a flat area. 1.3 Landforms created by rivers continued. As the river reaches the lower course, the flat plains, the terrain becomes very level. Because the land is flat, the river slows down and begins to snake or curve back and forth. These large curves are called meanders. Over time, these meanders become more extreme. During a flood, the river might cut through the narrow neck of a meander to take a straighter path. The old curve is eventually cut off from the main river by sediment, forming a crescent-shaped lake known as an oxbow lake. Deltas and river mouths. When a river finally reaches the sea or a large lake, it carries a lot of fine sediment, silt. Because the river's speed drops to almost zero upon hitting the standing water, it drops all its sediment. This buildup of land at the mouth of a river is called a delta. The process, the main river splits into many smaller channels called distributaries as it flows through the sediment it just deposited. Examples: the Irrawaddy Delta in Myanmar and the Ganges Delta in Bangladesh are famous examples where rivers meet the sea and create vast fertile land. Diagram labels, the shifting landscape. Top left diagram, meanders and oxbow lakes. Riverbank, the side of the river being eroded. Meander, the snake-like curves of the river. Oxbow lake, the U-shaped body of water that was once part of a river curve. Top right diagram, delta formation. Distributaries, the small branches of the river spreading out. Sediment deposit, the new land being formed at the sea. Sea level, where the river finally ends its journey. Bottom images, satellite views. These show real-world examples of massive deltas, like the Irrawaddy, spreading into the ocean, looking like a giant fan or a crow's foot. 1.3.2 Landforms created by glaciers. As massive blocks of ice called glaciers move slowly from high mountains toward lower, warmer elevations, they melt and eventually flow as rivers into the sea. Along this journey, glaciers shape the landscape through three main actions: erosion, transportation, and deposition. Key landforms created. U-shaped valleys. Unlike the narrow V-shaped valleys carved by water, glaciers are heavy and wide. They grind down the valley floor and walls simultaneously, creating a broad U-shaped valley. Corries, cirques.
Glaciers often begin in armchair-shaped hollows on mountainsides. Through constant freezing and thawing, plucking, the glacier deepens these hollows into bowl-like depressions called corries.
Arêtes. When two corries develop back-to-back or side-by-side, the ridge between them becomes narrow and sharp, like a knife edge. This sharp ridge is called an arête. Pyramidal peaks, Matterhorns. If 3 or more corries erode the sides of a single mountain peak, they create a sharp, pointed, pyramid-shaped peak. The most famous example is the Matterhorn in the Alps. Vocabulary review. Fill in the blanks prep.
Based on the exercise pages you uploaded earlier, here are the English terms you need to know for this section. V-shaped valley, created by rivers in the highlands. U-shaped valley, created by glaciers. Oxbow Lake, a crescent lake left by a river meander. Delta, new land formed at a river mouth. Matterhorn, a famous pyramidal peak in the Alps created by glacial erosion. 1.3.3 Actions of groundwater.
When rain falls, some of it soaks into the ground through porous rocks or cracks. This water that collects beneath the Earth's surface is known as groundwater. Just like rivers and glaciers, groundwater shapes the land through erosion, transportation, and deposition, though its process is mostly chemical. Key concepts from the diagram, Figure 1.17. The diagram illustrates the underground water cycle.
Evaporation. Water rising from the sea and land into the atmosphere. Precipitation. Rain falling onto the land and soaking into the soil. Water table. The level below which the ground is completely saturated with water. Infiltration. The process of water seeping down through soil and rock layers to join the groundwater. Unique landforms created by groundwater.
Groundwater is particularly powerful in areas with limestone rock. Because limestone is easily dissolved by rainwater, which is slightly acidic, groundwater can create incredible underground features. Limestone caves, large underground chambers carved out over thousands of years as water dissolves the rock. Stalactites and stalagmites. Stalactites, icicle-like formations hanging from the cave ceiling.
Stalagmites, formations growing upward from the cave floor. Sinkholes, large depressions or holes in the ground that form when the roof of an underground cave collapses. Vocabulary power-up! Your 19,900-word vocabulary is now absorbing chemical geography. Here are the key words to remember. Infiltration, water soaking into the ground. Water table, the top of the underground water level.
Matterhorn, a sharp pyramidal peak created by glaciers. Truncated spurs, triangular-shaped cliffs created when a glacier cuts off the fingers of a mountain ridge. 1.3.4 Actions of ocean waves. Ocean waves and currents are powerful forces that constantly reshape the coastlines of the world. Through erosion, transportation, and deposition, they create distinct coastal landforms.
Erosional landforms, carved by waves. As waves crash against cliffs, they wear away the rock. Over time, this creates sea caves. Waves exploit cracks in the cliff face to hollow out deep caves. Sea arches. When caves on either side of a headland meet, they form a bridge of rock over the water. Sea stacks. When the roof of a sea arch collapses, a tall pillar of rock is left standing alone in the ocean.
Depositional landforms built by waves. When waves lose energy, they drop the sand and pebbles they are carrying, creating beaches, light stretches of sand or shingles along the shore. Sandbars and spits, long ridges of sand formed by ocean currents. The limestone cave, top of image. The photos at the top of your page show the interior of a limestone cave, Figure 1.18. Here is the English explanation of what you are seeing.
Stalactites. These are the stone icicles hanging from the ceiling. They form as mineral-rich water drips down. Stalagmites. These are the mounds of rock growing up from the floor. They form where the water drips land. Limestone pillars. When a stalactite and a stalagmite eventually meet in the middle, they form a solid column or pillar. Vocabulary power-up. Your 19,900 word vocabulary now includes coastal engineering. Sea arch, a natural bridge of rock created by waves. Sea stack, an isolated pillar of rock in the sea. Limestone, a sedimentary rock that dissolves easily in water to form caves. 3.5.5, landforms created by wind. In arid, dry regions of the world, wind is the primary agent that shapes the earth. Wind creates landforms through the same three actions we've seen before: erosion, transportation, and deposition. Main key points: landforms and natural processes. Agents of change: rivers, glaciers, groundwater, ocean waves, and wind are the natural forces that work through erosion, transportation, and deposition to shape the Earth's surface. River landscapes. Upper course, steep flow creates V-shaped valleys, waterfalls, and rapids. Lower course, slow flow creates meanders, oxbow lakes, and deltas, like the Ayeyarwady Delta. Glacial landscapes. Heavy moving ice creates broad U-shaped valleys, sharp ridges called arêtes, and pointed Matterhorns, pyramidal peaks. Groundwater landscapes. In limestone areas, chemical erosion creates underground caves, stalactites, ceiling, stalagmites, floor, and sinkholes. Coastal landscapes. Ocean waves erode the land to form sea caves, sea arches, and sea stacks, while depositing sand to form beaches. Wind landscapes. In dry deserts, wind carves mushroom rocks and builds sand dunes of various shapes: barchans, longitudinal, etc. Final chapter review. Short answer key. Here are the English translations for the final review questions in your book. What landforms are found in the lower course of a river? Answer: in the lower course, you can find meanders, oxbow lakes, and deltas. Describe how a glacier creates landforms. Answer: glaciers move from high to low elevations, melting as they go. They use erosion to carve U-shaped valleys, arêtes, and pyramidal peaks. In which type of rock does groundwater create unique landforms? Answer: groundwater creates specialized landforms like caves and sinkholes, primarily in limestone regions, because the rock dissolves in acidic rainwater. Name 3 landforms created by ocean wave erosion. Answer: 3 erosional coastal landforms are sea caves, sea arches, and sea stacks. What is a mushroom rock and how is it formed? A mushroom rock is a pedestal-shaped rock found in deserts. It is formed by wind erosion, which grinds away the bottom of the rock faster than the top. 3. State whether the following statements are right or wrong. If wrong, write wrong. Rivers play an extremely important role in shaping the Earth's surface landforms. In arid regions, the action of rivers is most important. In the upper course of a river, only lateral erosion occurs. In the lower course of a river, only lateral erosion occurs. Natural levees are formed in the lower course of a river. Glacial valleys are U-shaped, resembling the English letter U. Sharp ridges and pyramidal peaks, like the Matterhorn, are formed by glacial erosion. Glaciers erode small depressions and deepen them into armchair-shaped hollows, corries. In limestone regions, unique landforms are created by the action of groundwater. Sinking streams and underground caves are formed by the erosion of groundwater. Various coastal landforms are found along the shores due to the action of ocean waves. Landforms such as spits and bars are found in coastal inlets. Wind erosion is more prominent in arid desert regions. Rock pedestals, mushroom rocks, are formed when wind erodes the base of a rock. When wind hits an obstacle and slows down, sand particles accumulate to form sand dunes. 4. Choose the correct answer. In arid regions, the role of blank is extremely important. A. Rivers. B. Glaciers. C. Groundwater. Correct answer:
A. Rivers. Note, while wind is active, the textbook specifically highlights the extremely important role of river actions in these sections. 2. In the upper course of a river, vertical erosion creates blank-shaped valleys. A, U, B, V, C, W. Correct answer, B, V. 3. In the lower course of a river, where the flow slows down and sediment is deposited, blink are formed. A, meanders, B, river islands.
Floodplains. Correct answer, C, floodplains. When a river splits into many branches as it enters the sea, a blank is formed. A, meander, B, river island, C, delta. Correct answer, C, delta. 5. Glacial valleys are shaped like the English letter blank. A, U, B, V, C, W. Correct answer, A, U. 6. When 3 or more quarries erode the sides of a mountain, a blank peak is formed. A, arête, B, Matterhorn, C, hanging valley. Correct answer, B, Matterhorn. 7. A sharp knife-like ridge between 2 glaciers is called a blank. A, arête, B, Matterhorn, C, hanging valley. Correct answer, A, arête. 8. Groundwater creates unique landforms primarily in blank regions. A, limestone, B, arid, C, glacial. Correct answer, A, limestone. Number 9. Rainwater dissolves limestone to create underground blank. A, sinkholes, B, caves, C, gorges. Correct answer, B, caves. Number 10. Along the coast, waves erode headlands to form blank. A, beaches, B, sandbars, C, sea cave. Correct answer, sea caves. Number 11. In coastal inlets, currents deposit sand to form blank. A, deltas, B, spits, C, sea stacks. Correct answer, B, spits. In arid deserts, wind erodes the base of rocks to form mushroom rocks. Correct answer, C, mushroom rocks. When wind slows down due to an obstacle, sand accumulates to form sand dunes. Correct answer, A, sand dunes. 5. Fill in the blanks. In arid regions, the role of rivers is extremely important. In the upper course of a river, vertical erosion creates V-shaped valleys. In the middle course, lateral erosion of the banks causes the valley floor to become wider. Glacial valleys are shaped like the English letter U. In the lower course of a glacier, truncated spurs are formed. When 3 or more quarries meet, a pyramidal peak called a Matterhorn is formed. Due to the lateral erosion of a glacier on both sides of a mountain ridge, sharp ridges called arêtes are formed. Fill in the blanks continued. 8. In glacial valleys, various types of small depressions are found as quarries or cirques. 9. Due to the chemical action of groundwater, unique landforms are found in limestone. 10. Rainwater dissolves limestone rock, and as cracks gradually widen, blank are formed. Caves. 11. Due to the actions of ocean waves and currents, blank are formed along the coasts of oceans and seas. Sea caves. 12. In coastal inlets, landforms like spits and blank are formed. Sandbars. 13. The action of wind is prominent in blank regions. Arid or desert. 14. Mushroom rocks are formed when wind erodes the blank of large rocks. Answer, base or bottom. 15. When wind hits an obstacle and slows down, sand accumulates on the leeward side to form blank. Answer, sand dunes.